Good evening and welcome to the latest Star Fury Facebook Live event. Now, while our conventions aren't able to take place due to the current pandemic and lockdown, we've been doing our best to keep attendees entertained with a series of free guest talks across Facebook Lives over the past few months. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we haven't been able to run a single convention this year. So we've been trying to keep you guys entertained with live events over our Facebook. We've had quizzes and competitions, we've had live updates, and of course, we've run a series of question and answers with popular Star Fury guests here on Facebook Live. Now, one of the most popular shows that we cover at Star Fury events, which we've been doing for a few years and has got a very loyal fan base, is of course the 100. It's a very popular show. We love it here at Star Fury, and so we felt it was only right that we have a guest along at some point to represent the 100 fans who do our events. And we've got a great guest for you tonight. She's absolutely lovely. She was due to actually attend our event that we were having take place last July, which has sadly had to be postponed to next year. It's now going to be taking place from the 2nd to the 4th of July next year, and she'll be along to that. She was at our event 2 years ago, and she was absolutely fantastic. And I was really looking forward to having her back this year, but we will be chatting with her tonight. A lot of you know her as Amore from the 100, but please welcome the absolutely lovely Luisa D'Oliveira. Sorry. It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in like 2 years.
It's great to see you too. I know it's been a long time.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing you in the summer, but sadly we've had to postpone that. But I'm looking forward to seeing you next year. Yes. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Now, we've had a lot of, but actually what we do for these questions, we ask the fans to send in questions, and we had the biggest response we've actually had yet.
Really?
You seem to be one of our most popular. My apologies to a lot of the attendees, because I've pruned it down. Otherwise, we would have been here all night. So if I don't get to ask you a question, my apologies, but thanks for asking it. And I've cut out doubles and so forth. But how have you been keeping yourself, and how are you and your friends and family been keeping during the pandemic?
Pretty good. I mean, I think in the beginning, definitely like everybody else, it was a lot of ups and downs and emotions and readjusting, and there was just a lot. But I feel like I kind of found a new normal, I guess. And I mean, work is back, which is great. The film industry is going again, with all sorts of rules, and I've had some work, which has been great. It just feels like getting back to normal life again, sort of. But yeah, my family's good. Friends are good for the, I feel very fortunate that for the most part, everyone's been keeping relatively okay.
Now, the first question we've got is from Laura Campus, and she wanted to know what inspired you to become an actress.
I don't even know. When I was young, I always wanted to act. In school, when people ask you when you're in elementary school, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always say, oh, I want to be an actress. But at that point, I don't even take it that seriously, because I feel like the only professions I knew were a teacher, an actor, and a singer. And so I chose actress. So I don't know if that counts, but I used to watch movies and then rehash them with my parents at the dinner table, like go line by line by line by line, act it out for them. I think I just always liked entertaining. And then once I got into high school, I had the opportunity to be in a bunch of plays and musicals, and that just kind of set me on the path.
Now, Simone Shifsky, she's from Minnesota, and she was asking how you got your role on the 100 and what was it like on your very first day on set?
I got the role. I had auditioned for a couple different roles on the 100 in Vancouver already, so they were familiar with me. I went in, did the audition, and was lucky that I just booked it. It was pretty normal route. My first day at that point too, it was one episode. She might come back. We don't know. We'll see. My first day, I just had one day of work. It was the whole day. That was season 2 out in the desert. So it was a Saturday and it was November. It was freezing cold. We were supposed to be in the desert. So it was very kind of like your senses were disturbed, and you'd breathe out, and in the early morning it was so cold you could see your breath. I don't know how they got around that shooting wise, but it was a good day. It was like a very accurate thrown into the world of the 100, I would say. Elementally difficult, emotional material, outside, long day, very creatively fun and satisfying.
I always find that interesting. Just to segue, I always find that interesting when an actor's cast on a show and you have the main cast who are cast straight away. But I always says that says a lot about an actor when you're cast in a guest star role and they like what you do so much that they end up keeping you for the entire run of the show. So I think that's quite a compliment to you as an actress there.
Thank you. I felt complimented, and I kept, honestly, every season I always assumed, okay, well, this will be the season where I snuff it, like it's the 100. Everybody dies. I'm not going to last. So I feel pretty fortunate. And I think I was also, I don't think it was fully just me. Like, they wanted to give John Murphy this great sort of slow burn redemption arc, and it worked out story-wise. So if you're brought in as a single episode character and they write you in more, it's because they liked you and what you were doing, plus it lined up with story that they wanted to tell. Because I think there's a lot of great actors who maybe got 1 or 2 episodes and they would have gotten more if there was, maybe they just couldn't find a way, you know, story-wise.
Yeah. Now, Samantha B from the UK, she says, congratulations on an amazing final season. What were the scenes that you personally are the most proud of from the show as a whole?
I really loved the last scenes with John Murphy and Amore when they were in the mind space. I thought I was so proud of that scene because I felt that just was the beautiful culmination of their relationship, but not just their relationship, how they had grown as characters and people. And I was also really proud of the scene back in season 4, the scenes with in Allie's mansion, with Clark, with the Bayless, John Murphy, because we got to see a lot of Amore's pain that she started to let out. I will always love the scene in the City of Light where Amore said, or Jaha says to her, you know, you can correct your defects here. And Amore says, I would if I had any, because that was just so iconic for her character. That was her. She accepted every part of her and embraced it. And so I think there were so many, but those ones I really loved.
Now, Morgan Saffron from New York, she says, what is something that you'll always remember from working on the 100?
It was just the family of it, you know, the cast and crew. It was just so special. I mean, something I'll always remember. I think just the day in and day out. I don't know how to pin it down. It was just it's hard to quantify, to have a job that you go back to constantly with the same people, and they know you and you know them, and you're all making it together. To have that time to really do that year after year after year. This is the first time I've ever done something over this span of time. So for me, it will always be that special sort of family feeling that you get to go back to all the time. I don't know. I think that, yeah.
Now, Imke from the Netherlands, she says, what did you do personally to prepare yourself to say goodbye to Amore, a character that you played for so many years, when it came to the final episode?
I was watching through a lot of her earlier scenes, especially because I was thinking about her journey and how far she'd gone. And it was so wild watching us all when we were younger, and I just felt like we were little babies, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I watched a lot of the old stuff, and it brought the journey sort of full circle for me.
Now, Michelle from Scotland, she wants to know, if you could go back and have a scene with somebody you didn't have a chance to work with on the 100, who from the cast would you choose and why?
I would love to. I did have some bits of scenes with her, but I would love to have scenes with Indra. If I could have some kind of an awesome one-on-one, because I just thought Indra represented the world, the structure of Grounder society that Amore left behind. She would have maybe even had some prejudices against Verdrena. I thought there was interesting stuff to play with, although Indra obviously accepted Amore. Nothing ever came up with her, and also I just love Adina Porter. I have so much respect for her. So between the person and the character, I would have loved to had a big scene with Indra.
Now, we've got Taysa from Brazil and Marlo Graham from Ontario, and they both sounds like they want to go into acting, and they were both asking if you had any tips for somebody who was going into acting, and what difficulties did you find getting to where you are in your career. And Marlo says you're a big inspiration to her and very special to her.
Thank you. Well, all the best to both of you, because if it's something that you love, you should absolutely go for it. Acting is a difficult profession because there's no guarantees. It's not like, oh, you get your degree and then here's a job. Or so you can have tons of training, no training. There's luck involved. There's a lot of personal stuff involved. I would say keep finding the things that inspire you. Find that the uniqueness inside of you that you can bring out, because at the end of the day, it's about your choices, your instincts, and then figure out, make sure you get the tools so that as your instincts are coming out, you're guided in the right way. You want to understand story. You want to understand how to develop a character, or if you're going, say you have your first job and you get one scene and one line, you need to understand what they need from you. So it's important to train. And I would also say prepare yourself to become, you have to become strong. You have to become emotionally strong, because you're going to get an incredible amount of rejection. It's not personal. It's not like, you did a bad job or there's something wrong. It's just a learning process. And every actor you see who's successful has gotten an insane amount of no. And then one thing comes along that says yes. And that might be the thing that was a big break for them. So it's okay. No is a good word. No means not this one. That's okay. Maybe what can you learn from it? Just always look for what you can learn from when you hear no. And
now Megan from Canada, she says that Amore went through several costume changes in the 7th and final season. So what were your personal favorite outfits during the show?
During the show or during season?
I think she means season 7. Yeah, that was when you had a variety of costume changes.
I really liked that there was this gorgeous, I only wore it once. It was a really kind of hippie, flowy, light blue dress that I wore when I was sick from radiation poisoning and went in to try and save John Murphy from the True Believers. And it was so beautiful. It was one scene. But that was it was so nice to be glamorous. And I mean, Amore was actually pretty glamorous the whole season 7, I guess I would say, which is hilarious for the 100. It's so not normal. But I love that one. And I also really like the kind of this blue dress that she wore that went up like this. I had it on quite a bit with these platform boots. It felt very like nice, but sci-fi. And it was just, it was cool. It was cool seeing Amore in these dresses. I was like, girl, who are you? Who's this person?
Now, Kalina from Poland, she says, what season was more challenging to you as an actor? Season 5, when Amore became a mechanic, flew a rocket, and was fighting with the others, or the ending of season 6 and season 7, when Amore was posing as Kaylee Prime, and then had to become a leader to protect the people of the Sanctum?
Which one was more? They were both pretty challenging. I think that 7 had the greatest amount of challenge. just because, I mean, with all the stuff at the very end, in particular, the stuff at the very end when she's kind of on her way out, and there was a whole episode of basically dying. That was very emotionally challenging, and then technically also wanting to make sure it looks right. And then in particular, again, that final scene, or the big final scene with her and John Murphy, where that was it. That was the final showing of where they had come to. So we just wanted to do that right. I really wanted to tell that story well. So I think that was probably the most difficult, because you can do all sorts of different things well, but which one is like what's the right way? What's the right one? You know, and again, that's what I'm saying, where instinct or your choices comes in, because it could have gone different ways, right? So I think that was the most difficult.
Well, talking about you're working with Richard Harmon, I mean, one of the things about the 100 fandom is they love their ships. And the Amore ship is probably it's usually between Clexa and Bellark, but it's very much Amore's one of the most popular ships. And this one asks about, this is Stephanie from Colorado, and she wants to know, what was it like to film the final Amore scene in the mind space with Richard, and how do you feel about the way Amore's story ended?
I'm really happy with how it ended. I think that it had they're two people who were always fighting, struggling to stay alive for each other, for themselves. They weren't always good at communicating. They didn't always make the right choices. And I think to have them both sort of choose each other, and also they're being such survivors, the fact that they had such willingness to say goodbye to life, basically, really was pretty incredible, I thought, for their story arc. It was, as far as how it was to shoot, it was so emotional. It was the very end of shooting. We both cared so much. We really wanted it to be good, to be right. I mean, there was a lot of just a lot of feels. There was a lot of feels. So tears, for sure.
Now, Meg from England, she wanted to know, when it came to the final episode, what was the mood on set? How did you and the rest of the cast and the crew feel knowing that this was the final episode of the 100?
It was very emotional. I mean, it was, you were going about your normal day, get your coffee, say hey to this person and that person, and grab your lunch. So there's all this normalcy in it. But with every single little normal thing, you think, this is one of the last times I'm ever going to do this. This is my last day in putting on Amore's makeup. This is my last time taking it off. This is my last time putting on her wardrobe. It was so, everything was the last, or the last of this wardrobe, or the last of that, or the last, time working with these people. And it was just, it was a long, long time of working with this family. It was just so emotional, I think, for everybody. Plus, then you're trying to get it done. Like, you're trying to, you have to shoot, right? So you're trying to keep moving while also going through all these emotions. Like, I think after we shot on the beach, everyone just wanted to hug, and our 80s were like going out of their mind. Like, we have to shoot. We have to keep moving. I know you all just want to stand around and talk for an hour, but we gotta go. We gotta go.
How did it feel having Alicia, Deb and Carey back on for the final, which they really kept as quite a surprise?
Yeah, I don't even think they put it on the call sheet. She had a fake name. They didn't want any paper trail. It was really wild, especially because she was back in full Lexa gear. It felt like eras of the 100 were colliding. It was really, really cool. And I mean, she's wonderful to watch. She's just such a fantastic actress. So it was great.
Now, Anna Rollins from North Carolina, she wants to know, given the body count across the seasons of the 100, did you expect your character to make it to the end of the show? And how did you feel when you finally figured out that she was going to have a happy ending?
I did not expect, definitely, like I was saying before, to make it to the end. Like every season, I kept thinking, okay, this will be the season where something horrible happens to Amore, and then John Murphy goes off the deep end. And that I just figure, I'm like, that's gonna happen at some point. Like I can't be around for another season, really. And then it kept happening, and I wanted to keep coming, but you never know, right? So when I found out that we were getting the ending we were getting, it was just so much gratitude. I felt so much gratitude to the writers and to Jason for giving us that ending, because you need the writing to do it, and to have that finished, to make the culmination of their relationship part of the story points of the end of the show was amazing. I felt very, very, very grateful, very grateful.
Now, Rachel from New York. Well, we've had a lot of people asking about this. Of course, one of the most popular things, of course, is the relationship between your character and John Murphy, Richard Harmon. So she was wanting to know, how did your first day of shooting with Richard go? And did you become friends quickly? And I was also just kind of curious, seeing as you were being brought in as a character to play off against Richard Harmon, did they audition you with him, or did they check chemistry beforehand, or how did you build up that chemistry when you started on the show?
I hadn't even met him before. I knew who he was because he's in Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver, so we were aware.
Yeah.
But I don't think I had met him. I hadn't met him before then. And they didn't audition me with him. Especially maybe if they were bringing me in as a series regular with the specific intention of having sort of the long game storyline that we ended up getting, then maybe they might have done something, some kind of chemistry test. But no, they just kind of threw. They like to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And I guess this one stuck, which was great. The first day was great. Like I was saying, it was in the desert. It was elementally, it was really like surreal and cool, and he was great. Like he was just very welcoming, because it can be very intimidating going onto a show that's established. Everybody knows each other. They all know, like any new job, right? Your first day on a new job with a full group of people that they all know how it works. They're all used to working together. You're doing that every single time you go into a show that's already been established. But he was so welcoming and really made me feel at ease, which I was grateful for. And we just kind of we worked really similarly. We're both open about talking about stuff with the story, or seeing, oh, does this feel right? Does that feel right? And just then bringing it when the cameras were rolling. So I think we were both like, that was pretty great. Okay, bye. Like, we'll see you. Who knows what's going to happen? So that was the first day. And then I got the call that they wanted me to come back, and the rest is history.
So Steph from Romania was asking, which season out of the 100 did you like the most?
Oh man. I mean, I loved season 7 for Amore. If I'm talking about just for sort of Amore's character, there were definitely a couple. I loved season 7 because I got to see her evolution. This was like who she had become as a person. We really saw that to fruition in 7. 4 was really great because I loved her Amore's old way and her old fear really kind of came to a head in that season. She almost got sacrificed up for testing. She made some pretty bad choices herself as far as willingness to sacrifice somebody else for testing to save herself. So that was sort of like the last ditch of the old Amore trying to survive. And then I really liked season 5 as well, because there was a chance to sort of reinvent her. She'd had 6 years to evolve, and suddenly she was this different person. So it was really fun to like see who she was now after she had these new skills and new relationships and all that. I say those 3 were pretty great.
Now, Sharon from Australia, she wanted to know, who cracks the most jokes on set?
Oh, definitely Sachin. He has a hard time turning it off. He's just, his mode is make jokes. Yeah, definitely Sachin.
Now, Alyssa from New York wants to know, is there a character on the 100 with whom you would have liked Amore to have interacted with more? And if so, which character?
Yeah, definitely. Again, Indra. I would have really liked to see just some more what it would be like between those two if they had to work together. And also, Indra is sort of she's a leader and a maternal character in a way, and I don't think Amore has had many of those, if any, role models in her life. That's what she started to get with Space Crew. She started to see they started to teach her stuff, but it was sort of as peers. So to see someone that was almost like a parent, potentially an older parent figure, I thought would have been really cool.
Now, Steph from Scotland says, in the first couple of seasons, Amore only cared about surviving and John Murphy. But when do you think the turning point was for her, where she felt like she wanted something more than that?
I think end of season 4, when she had the opportunity to be in that bunker for a second to survive the oncoming prom fire and apocalypse. Because after that, when her and John Murphy are fleeing, she says, I've never felt like that before. Like I had a home. And I think that was where she started to, I don't think she'd ever seen that there was a door that had always been, she knew that there was a door that had been closed to her as far as society, but this is the first time she felt the possibility of maybe I can just have a home here. So I think that cracked the door open. And then obviously in 5, after she spent all that time in space, that was when everything fully shifted for her.
Now, Michaela from Australia, she wants to know how long did it take to have your makeup done on the 100, with the tattoo on your face and on your hands and so forth?
Well, I will say the first time, I think it took close to almost like an hour and a half, 2 hours, because we were figuring it out. They were designing the tattoo and whatnot. And then by the end of it, though, I think we had it down to maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It was pretty, considering how much there was. It was the tattoo took the longest, but it got pretty quick. They had to like block it out with their special glue and then put it on, and then and they were tattoos that they had made themselves, and they had a new one every day, and then they had to like fix it up and then do a layer on top of it to tone it down. It was definitely a process, but 45, 50 minutes, I would say.
Have to say, the tattoo, in one way, it's kind of like great because it made your character in terms of the fandom. So every time I'm at a convention and I see a bunch of 100 cosplayers dressed up as grounders, I always go, oh, that's the Amore cosplayer, straight away with the tattoo. And I take a, so when you're next over, I've got a bunch of photos to show you.
Oh,
of all the different cosplayers. But it's one of the ones that really makes it distinctive with the tattoo.
It's so special to see everyone who's dressed up as Amore cosplay. The first time I saw that someone dressed up as a character I played, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And seeing, it's just very surreal. It's surreal to play someone that people want to dress as. It's really cool. Yeah. Now,
Raged from Bahrain, they wanted to know, what have you learned about yourself while you were playing Amore?
It definitely reemphasized that idea that there is always this little child inside of you from your past that has scars or pain or whatever it is that they carry, and they don't necessarily ever fully go away. Like they're there, but they, as the adult, as you get older, you become you learn to work with that person, and they don't own you anymore. And I think Amore has always been owned by this little child inside of her that was afraid and was shunned and angry, and she learned to let go of that resentment and that anger, and to not reject that little person, not this little Amore, just to say that was who I was, and that's okay. That's there too, but now I'm someone else. I think that was probably one of the biggest things, and how much people can change. Amore changed so much. It's so inspiring.
Now, J. Alejandro Guerrero Tinoco from Ecuador. Firstly, they say that Amore is the favorite character and they absolutely love them. But they also said that she proved to have an amazing potential in space. How did you represent the change in Amore and the family love that emerged once she was in space?
I really wanted to show her being at ease, cracking jokes as much as possible, having fun. I thought that because she'd always been so on edge before, like when I played her, I was always very, I looked down a lot and almost like looked up, sort of like the way an animal that's unsure or like a big cat might. So I thought her posture would change. She was more relaxed. She was physically, I made jokes. Whether they were written in or not, I just wanted her to be at ease. And I thought that would show such a big shift in her. So that's sort of where I started season 5 with her.
Now, Maria Elena from Italy, she says she hugely misses the 100. And now that it's over, looking back, what does the 100 mean to you? And what did you learn from the show?
It means, the 100 was the biggest job that I've had. It means that on a personal level, that I can be a professional actress, that I can do it. And it's to tell a story like the 100 over so many seasons it's just been so special. And to see and this ties into what I have learned, I think. Making a TV show is such a dialogue with the creators, the actors, everyone on set, the fans. There's such a back and forth happening all the time. It's so collaborative. The whole is so much stronger than the individual pieces. So I think that's something that I've really, really learned. It doesn't happen without everyone coming together, which I think is true about a lot of things in life. And I thought it was pretty beautiful.
Now, Dina Doan from Sacramento in California. Now, she's asking about the fandom of the 100. Now, of course, being a part of a show like the 100, you of course get to come over to stuff like Star Fury, but there's been lots of other conventions you go to. There's the whole internet response to the show as well. You get a real response you don't necessarily get on other shows. So how has the 100 fandom, how did that impact you on working on the show and in your life?
It was surreal. I've cried a lot in good ways. It was so incredibly surreal. The first time that Amore came on the screen and I saw how people talking about her on Twitter, I was like, what? They're talking. This is what? Like I've done a lot of work before that, but never has there been a response like that. To see that people are interested and into it and wondering, oh, what's going to happen, and I what about this and what about that? It just the interest was so cool, and I think that the most incredible part of all of it has been when fans have written letters to me or said at conventions of how much the show or Amore has impacted them in their life. It's just so surreal to know that you're a part of something that brings positivity or helps to someone or helps them evolve or gives them strength. It's extraordinarily rewarding. And I feel like also, just for the record, anyone who the 100 has given, if it's given you strength, if it's helped you in dark times in your life, you did that too. Like it's a two-way street. So there can be something that comes in, whether it's a book or a person in your life that helps you through something difficult, and in this case, maybe a TV show. That doesn't work on you if you don't let that happen and make it happen yourself. So take credit for anything that you have done in your life, anything you've gotten over that you say the 100 helped you with. The 100 was a part of it, but you were too. You were a big part of it. Just for that.
Now, Maddie Cassidy from California, she wants to know, when the show finished, did you take anything from the set?
Um, yes, why I did. I actually took some of Amore's wardrobe, which was great. So I do have it, and I'm keeping it safe. I have her vest and a lot of her gear from season 5. I have some of the great dresses from 7. I really wanted to find her the original wardrobe with the had this like corset almost. It was sort of like an armor corset. But I couldn't find that.
Oh,
And yeah, so I did take a couple things. Good mementos. I wanted to take the hand, but that I don't think there's no way. That's
oh.
the property of the special effects studio that made it. I can't just make that.
Now, Ines Mello from Portugal, they say they know you've got a Portuguese background as well, and they were wondering if you could say something for them in Portuguese.
I'm so sorry. I wish I
Oh,
could. I can't. I have a lot of different ethnicities in me, and I speak English. So, sorry.
I'm the same.
I can say obrigado. Or I think obrigada is what I say.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's something for them.
I'm sure I'm
Now,
doing it wrong too, but there's something.
now, Eleanor from Greece, she wants to know what your personal musical tastes were, and if you've got a song at the moment during lockdown that you're a bit obsessed with.
Sure. Yes, I love a lot of old music. I love Etta James. I love Sam Cooke. Um, I've been listening to a lot of Sade. I, I like Lord Huron, and I don't know, a mix of stuff. But in lockdown, I will tell you the one song that I've been listening to basically every day is, I don't even know how I found it. It's just a piano instrumental. It's by a composer named Dan Muselman. Muselman, I think it's his last
Mm-hmm.
name. I should figure that out. But the song is called Time Out. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Dan Muselman. The song's called Time Out, and it's just a composition he made, and it's so gorgeous. I play piano, okay, and I really like piano. I also like Yo-Yo Ma.
Well, I'll check that out once we're finished here.
It's a great song.
Now, Meg from England wanted to know, besides Amore, what is your favourite TV character that you've played so far?
Besides Amore, I think I really loved. I played a character called Maria Snow on a Canadian show called Motive, and I worked with Victor Garber, who's a
Oh,
wonderful man. Like such a treat working with him every day. Basically, it was almost always him and I. And she was a very complicated character. She was very polished, but had this sort of deep, dark secret and a long game that she was playing. So I had to incorporate little bits of what's going on with this girl. That was strange reaction that didn't seem too out of place. But then when you look back on them later, like, oh, that made sense. So that was a really fun character to play. Very complicated, very complicated.
now Zion Minx from Qatar, they were curious if you have a new project you're going to be working on now the 100 is over, and they were also curious that if you hadn't become an actress, what do you think you would have done with your life?
I am working on something right now. It's a recurring role. I don't know if I can talk about it yet. I guess it's on a show called. I guess I'll tell you the show, The Republic of Sarah, which is new. It'll be coming out. I'm not even sure. I don't know if they have a date yet, but it's a fun role. So I'm doing that, which is great.
I'll
And
definitely
then
look out for you on that.
yes, great. Please, when I have more info, I'll when they announce some stuff, I'll put it out. And then what was the other part of the question?
If you hadn't become an actress, what do you think you would have done with your life?
I had two things. Well, after high school, I was determined I decided I'm going to go into sciences because I really like sciences and I wanted to become an environmental biologist. Did a year of all those courses, realized pretty quickly, okay, I'm interested in this. I don't necessarily know if I'm either / cut out for this level of study. I did struggle. And also in science, if you want to get into the creative part of it, you really have to know so much. The base of knowledge you need to know is so great. And I was like, I really want to be creative. So I was like, maybe this is not for me. And the other thing I was kind of thinking about doing was being a personal organizer, because I really liked organizing. I used to go to the grocery store and like make the nail polishes when I was 6. Like what kid does that? Who does that? That's such a weird thing. I on the Home Edit and all these organizing shows, I love that kind of stuff. So it would have been fun to do that too. That was something I was considering.
Now, Adrian from Hastings, he's asking about another popular genre show that you were on. He wanted to know, what was it like working on Supergirl?
Oh yeah, that was fun. It was crazy being around the S is because it's so iconic. It really kind of, you feel the great world that has been around for so many decades of Superman and Supergirl. So that was really fun. Plus, she was a character with powers, and it was just a fun job. It was fun. That show is very streamlined. They know what they're doing. They're efficient. So it definitely was like, you felt, again, coming into every new job, like, oh, okay, like I just fit in with this machine that's working really good. But it was a fun experience.
I've been doing Supergirl events as well as the one. So when we're done with the 100, you still have the option of those.
Perfect.
Bring you over as well.
Yeah.
Now we got 2 people asked something here, and it's kind of like similar. Manuela Sousa from Brazil and Owen Afrim from Israel. Well, Manuela said there's lots of fans of the 100 in Brazil who would like to see you over there. And Oren is from Israel and says there's a lot of fans of the 100 in Israel who'd love to see you over there. I guess the answer to that would be they need to get onto the convention organizers in those countries. Yeah. But I just thought I'd let you know, there's demand to see you in those countries as well.
I would love to go. I haven't been to Brazil, and I haven't been to Israel, and I would love to go to both. So if there's a convention that gets running that wants to invite me, as long as I'm not working, I'm there. I'd love to go.
Just to let people know who are watching it, if you do want to see Luisa, or if you do want to see any other actors at a convention, the way is you get onto the organizer, and that's how you get them. Let them know you want to see them along, and that's how you get them to invite them.
And hi to everyone in Brazil and Israel as well.
Now, Kristen from New York, she wants to know, if you could be any animal, what animal would you be and why?
I always wanted to be a tiger when I was younger, because I just thought they were so cool. But I think I want to be a falcon or something, because I want to be able to fly. And they're a bigger bird, so they're probably not going to get, they might not kick it in the circle of life. They might live a long life and be okay.
Now, Peyton Hubert from Florida, USA, they believe that this question is the best way to get to know somebody and to learn a lot about them. And that is, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I have 2: chocolate mint and peanut butter chocolate. Yes.
And this one is our final question of today. And the final question goes to Caitlin Richard from Wales. And she wants to know, and I thought this would be a nice question to end it all on, what do you think John and Amore are doing right now on the beach?
They're probably arguing about something stupid. And they're probably figuring out fishing and finding ways to be useful, as well as probably going off on adventures and finding some thrill seeking, probably cliff diving or whatnot, and then coming back and being like, hey, let's get so-and-so up here. Come on, it'll be fun. Let's go. That's what they're having fun. I think they're having fun.
Well, it's been great having a chat with you this evening. Thanks for joining us.
It's been my pleasure. It's so good to see you.
as I'm sure you're aware, the 100, it's just one of those shows. Not very few shows do this, but it had a real effect on people, and the work you did, it really touched and it really affected a lot of people, and a lot, especially young girls, found a lot of strength and a lot of role model in what you did. So it's greatly appreciated. And I was sorry we couldn't get to meet up this year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing you, fingers crossed, next July. Looking forward to that. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's been so supportive and such a fan of Amore. It means a lot. It means everything to me, and I'm happy we have this reciprocal appreciation for each other.
Just before we signed off, I quickly also wanted to say a thank you to Holly, who helped arrange all of this, and also a big thank you to our tech girl Jo, who does all the hard work and make sure this all runs smoothly and everything. So a big thanks to those two. But it's great seeing you, Luisa. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next July. We'll have some fun then, and I'm looking for. What did you say your new show? You're allowed to say The Republic of Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
There hasn't been too much chat about it yet, but I'll put stuff up when.
Well, because you're in it, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Okay. Sounds good.
You take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much for tonight.
You bet. Great seeing you. Bye, everyone.